Fire away, guys.
I guess it's a pretty tough one to have to come here on a Wednesday night and finish up a season with the injury list you had. Like, how'd the boys? How'd you find they fought through that? I guess adversity after a long season.
Oh well, there's no doubt. I mean, we limped to the line. I mean, it's it's not just. I mean, there are challenges, and I think the really important thing for our group is that we were, we continue to fight, through difficult circumstances, and I think the circumstances are obvious, but the players, themselves never accepted the excuses, and our young players, they're excited about the opportunity to play. I mean, we certainly didn't start out the year to debut 15 players in a year, and we certainly won't be doing that next year because it's just not possible. So I think of the team that ran out there today, 15 of them have played a fair bit of VFL footy this year, and they've come into our side out of, some forced their way in, and some obviously out of necessity just due to the circumstances of our list. But that's the opportunity for us. I mean, we the last quarter, Blackerson's in the ruck, Roberts is inside mid, Kako's an inside mid. I mean, that was inconceivable at the start of the year. But we put them in there tonight late because they were our best options, and I think while it was a challenging night against some really good players and a really good team, they showed some signs that they're going to be good players for the future. So while it's hard at the moment, I mean, it's just been an unprecedented season, but we've looked to keep improving our list and getting some players exposure that wouldn't have got it otherwise. So there's a chance that holds us in good stead next year and going forward, but it's not guaranteed. So we've got to get to work and work on improving not just our list, but the players that we've got on our list currently.
Can you take anything from this year, Brad, going forward that's big picture wise? I mean,
yeah, we take a lot. I mean, it's we started this year thinking that we might have, out of our best team, a couple of players come in. I mean, Isaac Kako played round one, but to think that he's finishing the year stronger than he started it is huge for us. I mean, the thing that has, again, we haven't talked about it because it just sounds like an excuse, but I think at the end of the season, we've been putting players out there because we have to, that are, first year players, and they're flagging, they're really struggling. So tonight it was, a case of not just who wasn't there, but the guys who were out there were struggling. But I think that again, like, I can reel off the names. The young players, they never complained. We played them in really important roles. We played them out of their depth at different stages, and they at times they didn't look out of place. Now over time they got out-muscled, outclassed, and by more experienced players. But that's an opportunity that you don't get. So as I said, it doesn't guarantee anything, but we've got exposure to a whole lot of players that wouldn't have got it otherwise. So that's we start next year with, assuming we take, for example, 4 or 5 draft picks, we're only going to have 5 or 6 players on our list who haven't played AFL footy and who wouldn't start next year thinking, that the majority would think they're in our best side, because they've played and at times they've played some good footy.
Conversely, how many players played their last game for the club tonight, and sort of in what number terms can you expect to turn over the list during the off-season?
Oh, we're in a really difficult position because we've got, by virtue of the fact we had 4 mid-season draft picks that come onto our list, we've got a list of 47. So, that's got to come back. So in the event that we take, let's say, for example, 4 picks, it's 8 or 9 players that have got to come off our list. So we're not going to be in a position to announce too many changes in the short term. We're going to have to work through a whole lot of scenarios over the next couple of months. And there'll certainly be some, as there always is at the end of every year, some players who move on. But I really feel it's not for me to make those announcements. It's up to those players to make those announcements.
What about for you as a coach, Brad? Obviously, you've spoken a bit about the playing list and the players you've introduced, and there's learnings there. But for you as a senior coach who's been through different experiences before, this one's been unprecedented. Have you learned anything personally?
Oh yeah, I mean it's when you've got to be creative in a way. I mean when you you know your team's up and about and they're playing really well and your system's ingrained and you're playing a squad that's got continuity and they've been playing years of footy together. The leaders really take a lot of control on field and you're guiding the ship. We've been we've had to be really creative every week to come up with ways to try and find a way to win. And pleasingly with the coaching group, we've always gone into every game with an attitude that there is a way to get the job done. We need a lot of things to go right, but we've had to be creative. So, in my experience, I mean, I've been in the game a fair while. This has been a challenging year, but they're all challenging for different reasons. So, but when your team is not, on autopilot, that's when, it sounds strange, but I think that's when you've got to do your best work. And while there's not a lot to show for it publicly and on the surface, but I think the coaching group, the assistant coaches have worked extremely hard and through difficult circumstances, and just like the players and the club, that'll hold us in good stead if we continue to fight through. And I think that while it looks, we should be optimistic about the personnel we get back, but that in and of itself won't do it for us. So we've got to look to improve our list and not just rely on injured players coming back.
Brad, what's your level of confidence that Sam Draper will stay?
Still unknown. I mean, we're doing everything we can to create the big picture for him. That Essendon's the best place for him to play his footy. So, but it's an unknown at this stage. So we'll find out soon enough. But I think he has a genuine love for the Essendon Footy Club, and but this is the age of free agency where I think players have got to weigh things up. So clearly he's torn. Otherwise he would have made a decision by now.
Goldie and Guelphy at the end, any breaks or any?
No. I mean, Guelphy hurt his calf, but we don't think it's serious. Goldie got concussed for the first time ever in his, whatever it is, 17, 18 years of footy. So, he was shattered to go down. He's been a warrior for us, and God, I don't know what we would have done without him, given all of our other ruckmen pretty much have gone down throughout the season. So, and while it's not disappointed for Goldie, we saw something in Blackiston in the second half in the ruck as well. So we've been pretty keen to get him into the ruck, but we haven't had anyone over 6'1" in the back line either. So that's it's been one of those years where we've if we want to try something, we rob Peter to pay Paul. But again, if you'd said that our centre bounce crew is Blackiston, the ruck, Roberts, Kako, you wouldn't have believed it. But they competed pretty well in the last quarter.
Anything to say to Dylan Shield after tonight? Or that'll come in the next couple of days.
Yeah, look, I mean, Sheely and I talk all the time. I mean, in terms of Sheely's future, it's my view is it's not for me to talk to it. It's Sheely and I know exactly where we stand, the club, but it's not for the club to make those statements or those announcements. That'll all happen in good time. And as I said, we're in a bit of a state of flux, so we can't. We'd love to give certainty to a whole lot of players, but we can't at the moment. So we need to have as much flexibility with the changes to our list as we possibly can.
Do you expect any of the injuries to actually linger into the pre-season, or do you think you'll get a pretty clean run at it when they actually get back?
No, some will linger. ACLs take 12 months, so we'll start with I would say 8 or 10 guys who are compromised in January. So we'll be working really hard to get them back as quickly as possible. But look, the work we're going to have to do in the off season is going to be significant, because we're not, as I said, we are not in a position where we think that, okay, well, it's been a hard season, but we start afresh next year. We won't be starting afresh next year either. We'll have to, manage the early parts of the season with getting a few guys back throughout the year. But the pleasing part of that is that as I said, if we take 4 players in the draft, we'll have 5 players who haven't played AFL footy on our list. So we should have enough depth.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.